Promo 2922. The team captain meet and speaks to the world. Hairdrock Harry D. November 22, 2003, 5:06 a.m. East GLP Forum. Mystery of Dr. Dan Burish. Important. Flyby would be a helicopter visit from Growling PTB. I had decided I am not on their list of worries yet. Okay, here it is. I printed it and it takes more than a full page, if you keep it all. Feel free to alter any of this. It reveals what little I know about the science and it has me asking the questions I want someone to answer. Good luck and don't you laugh. Greetings. As you may or may not be aware, a relatively unknown public internet forum known as Godlike Productions has recently produced what appears to be a growing number of accessible links depicting and sanctioned biological and chemical exercises being conducted on human subjects with numbers for names, even as you read this. A topic thread entitled, Mystery of Dr. Dan Burish. Important, and offered by a man from the Netherlands, who uses the moniker human subject number 5821 has attracted various informants from within the government and military who are risking their lives to, not only make the public and fellow patriots aware, but also to, for lack of a better term, save the world. Among the many fearful participants in these unethical research programs is a retired naval microbiologist named Dr. Dan Burish, who was missing and presumed dead. Arrangements were made by certain courageous contacts on the inside to allow the living drive to be interviewed on a Yahoo site with webcam, by at least three different members of the GLP forum. These personal interviews appear on pages vol 147 to 49 starting at page 47 dawned at November 13, 2003 3:09 a.m. EST of the Burish thread for your review and consideration. More interviews at equals libraries. Within the 75 plus PLUS November 22, 2003 pages of the Burish thread, there are compelling revelations about the signed treaties currently being honored between human beings and extraterrestrial visitors. The presence and cover-up is discussed behind the scenes in a startling matter-of-fact manner, by at least two opposing factions. Dialogue reveals that the faction hailing from the darker side would like to obtain permission to increase abductions rates to 10 million 10 million humans per year, in addition to gaining possession of something called the Lotus. This secret treaty, known as the T9 Treaty in the Ed and Black Ops community, is allegedly up for renewal shortly. Given the likelihood of an alien presences and in view of such claims, should key voters be allowed to decide the parameter of such a treaty? What do you say? Is it okay, if we, meaning the members of the peaceful faction, give up the Lotus Protocol, and allow an increase in fellow human abductions in the name of peaceful cohabitation? Or is the abduction quota they now have enough? Dr. Burish and other scientists were part of a project trying to correct a neurological defect in the species many refer to as Greys or J-Rods. One of these NS, a 4-foot male, was the voluntary tissue and cell donor responsible for these latest scientific advances. He communicated telepathically with Dr. Dan for the benefit of all mankind, not just our controllers. It is revealed recently that this courageous time traveler has since expired, but not before assisting his tribe and friend in discovering the power of the Ganesh particle as well as advancing cell rejuvenation and genetic repair research well beyond cloning. How about it? Know anybody tired of being paralyzed? Can we get Dr. Burish freed from house arrest? What are his chances of ever seeing the outside world again, considering what he knows? Should our top scientists continue to be erased when their projects reach completion, in the interest of national security? Are those the rewards for making scientific breakthroughs? Want some stunning insights? Doc. Q94-109A is a must-read, as is Dr. Burish's last letter, before he disappeared. That's not all. Dr. Burish describes how he and others near him are appalled at the government's practice of releasing untested biological material in the air, commonly known as chemtrails, or, as he refers to them, trials over major cities in the U.S. Have you seen them? The crises cross vapor trails in the skies? The government decided to spray a type of biological ingredient in our air, Operation Raindancer, that might deter human DNA from becoming unwound after a threat to deliver a certain airborne virus was received. Do you feel that the public should be made aware of such decisions before or after action is taken? Do you feel like the U.S. government acted in your best interest? Transcripts and documented evidence concerning natural as well as man-made targets have surfaced. Apparently some are now being activated, and some time travel is being allowed. It is not clear where these human subjects are being sent to or why. A hybrid program involving humans and aliens is discussed, with links as to its veracity supplied. Ask yourself, was the war in Iraq about terrorism? Not according to soldiers and civilians on the inside. Wonder what happened to the WMD we were promised would surface. Prepare to be shocked to learn what religious artifact in the wrong hands could mean for all life forms. By the way, are you aware of underground 40 glass-lined tunnels dug by nuclear-powered terrains connecting over 100 strategic sites have been built with your tax dollars? Would you like to see a directory to see the one nearest you? And what about our sources? Are these brave individuals loyal to the United States of America? Definitely. Are there secret societies located on American soil deciding what is best for the human race? Definitely. Question is, does the United States government have the right to make decisions for humans in other countries? Does the United States of America own the world? The man from the Netherlands doesn't he think so, and neither do I, but then again, he has no vote, and I have but one. Do you want to know what the government isn't telling about Planet X, the coming Earth changes pole shift, or the real reasons behind the sun's unusual behavior? Does it make sense to you that billions of dollars are being spent on Iraq, while we go further and further into debt? Dr. Burish is still alive. The Burish thread is still producing insight and awareness. It is being compared to the Pelican Brief story by some. What can you do to help save Dr. Burish? Anything? Pause for a moment, and ponder these things. The information derived from the Burish thread is not going to be crushed by the powers that be, because the real powers that be want this nonsensical nightmare we live in to end. The men and women who obtain this information are ordinary people, and are guilty of no crime. They are innocent. They have names, yes, but most are not known to those releasing the information from behind the forbidden veil. The information is being made available to anyone everywhere, just as I have made it available to you. Can the site be taken down? I suppose anything is possible where power and money are used to being in control. Why would anyone want to deny the public these many insights? You decide. Some say that the government's reasoning is that in the end we will all die anyway. Some benevolent beings within and without are decidedly opposed to this attitude. What position do you take? Feel free to post your comments on the thread, and become part of the history of the world. Some say the pending L can be avoided. Your part may make the difference. February 4, 7 Dan Burish Treaties. I testified during my time, where I was giving my debriefing to two sets of treaties, one called the T9 and the other the of 9. These treaties have governed agreements between we and the human lineage extraterrestrials. The treaties govern our relationships with the P+52 Orions and J-Rods, and the P+45 J-Rods. The treaty system is presently under great scrutiny, as to whether it need continue, once the transition rise into the Rift galactic plane is complete. www.angelfire.com Web link Part 23 Burish.html. A Project Camelot update from Henry Deacon, Lawrence Livermore physicist, verifies Dr. Dan Burish. In our first interview, Henry told us he had never heard of Dan Burish. Because parts of Henry's story seemed to overlap with Dan's, we strongly urged him to view our 3-part Dan Burish video interview. On the 27th of September, 3 weeks later, we received the following email. It's quoted verbatim and in its entirety. Dan Burish is telling the whole truth. I confirm this. Timelines and all, best wishes, www.angelfire.com Web link Part 24 Burish.html The Laughlin, Nevada Conference 2007, Dan Burish took it upon himself to apologize for the previously established treaty-programmed abductions, citing that they were wrong on any account and that, as he was a former number, he had some responsibility to speak out in that regard. He said he used his short time, as a J number to press for the removal of the abductions from the treaty process, because it was wrong, and that the government including Majestic in years past had been lying to the people of the world when dismissing their claims of abductions or at encounters. On behalf of Majestic and the Majestic 12, I am sorry, I apologize. In the 60 years of Majestic, this is the only or at least one of very few times anyone from the seated 12 has ever said they were sorry for anything. www.angelfire.com Web link Part 25 Burish.html Dan Burish 911 April 4, 2007 Hi, everyone. Rare is the occasion when we find it necessary to act to protect the safety of our fellow operatives. I don't like to be pressured by people who feel they own the world. They don't own it. The only thing they truly own is their own beliefs and actions, and in this case, their own arrogance. They, like some others, have misread me. They, like some others, have underestimated my commitment to truth and the people of Earth. Those in former power are expressing their concern as to exactly what you plan to present in the next DVD by way of photographs or other material associated directly to the majestic www.angelfire.com web link part 26 Burish.html. Some highlights from update pages. Dr. Burish signs revealing affidavits, photos. February 11, 2004 J. Dr. Burish will not be harmed, nor will anyone else involved with your participant's investigation of him. I know that some of you have had concerns in that area. Put them to rest, please. The disclosure of information concerning Dr. Burish may be categorized by each, as you may. The information itself has done its job and its impact has assisted in affirming a particular road. What is that, you may ask? The Road to Peace, www.angelfire.com web link update.html. March 16, 2004. Project Lotus touches many aspects of the human condition reflected in science, philosophy, theology, and ethics. We tread remarkably close to the tree of life, guarded by the holy cherubim. Marcia A. McDowell, M.A. Assistant Director, Project Lotus B.J. Wolf. Dec 19, 2005, Marcia McDowell, M.A. It appears that the real war against disclosure has started, and there are factions that will not care what they do, or who they hurt as long as it gets them their goal. Well, what they do not know is that we have protocols in place for this and they are being invoked now. www.angelfire.com web link part 7 Burish.html. August 23, 2005 Stargate Forum. Our question deals with E.L.S, the Torah code matrix. Are you in that matrix, and if so where, with what E.L.S, under what name and with what other codes? Thank you Dr. Dan Burish. Okay, why not? ELS equals 179, General 4, Primaries Danny Crane, Fruit, Tree, Life, Discoverer. I do have the matrices, but I prefer not to indulge myself in the speculation, unless forced. Authorized message from MJ1. Skywatcher Bill Hamilton. August 15, 2004 1:11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Dr. Burish Capsulus. The read/search for the truth volume 19 page 16 GLP forum. Here is the full text of the message I received from J1. I think the time has come to share it with you. It was also a revelation to Dan according to him. As received by Telex 02 May 040630U, authorized directly from the working 12/01 May 2004. Dear Mr. Hamilton, it has been determined that an answer to your genuine human question about Danny should be provided. Danny has been the unwitting star in the release of information that was determined important long before he was born. In 1958, as part of an information exchange program established 4 years prior, the Trot that was later to meet with Danny informed the United States government of a need to establish regular treaties leading up to a culmination of a human time loop paradox. 54 years later, in 2012, the timing of his information was driven by numerology. Once informed, representatives of the working group established by President Truman confirmed it by the Trot's government's representatives. The beings from Orion confirmed the information in 1967 and an immediate meeting was held at White Sands between all three groups. Unknown to us at that time, they had established a base some 15 light years away, in outer 1958. In 1973, in the last year of a 15-year sampling agreement, grandfathered by 9 years of abductions that had already taken place, Danny was taken by Crane family agreement to help preserve the future, while playing, as a child in a California park. Many other children were taken as well. He has believed, to this time, that he was taken, as a random sample and is only being told of the truth today, with this letter. The intermixture between he and another son, Michael, did occur, as he was told, but it was a planned operation. Michael was dying of cancer. During the 1976 treaty conference it was determined that Danny may be placed in a position for later disclosure of sensitive information regarding the paradox, depending on his life direction. During that same year Danny was introduced to the Los Angeles Microscopical Society, by a physician with close ties, and so was brought into the external sphere of our influences. Those influences branched out during his tenure in England and we watched, as he came to a decision on what side he was on. He chose the Magi's direction and not that of the Illuminati. By the time of the 1985 treaty discussions, Danny was making a distinction for himself at the University of Nevada, as a scholar and a rebellious troublemaker. We extended the discussions for another year, as a suitable candidate had not yet been determined. Robert Laser was in this group of candidates. By 1986 we had decided that Mr. Laser was possibly one of the best to steer that way, but he quickly got out of control and didn't realize the doors that were being opened to him. Rather, he was too much the rebel. Several other characters have since also been assigned to assist in the information release. While Mr. Laser pulled himself apart, and we were helping a little because of his loose cannon nature, we set our eyes on Danny. Danny was inducted in 1986 and was almost immediately given a small bit of information to hide. He wasn't aware that his information was of little importance at the time, little more than Mr. Laser had already released. The first test release was done to reporter George Knapp, and Danny performed brilliantly, denying everything but showing a psychological willingness to tell the truth about a subject so important to mankind. Such metered releases from us continued to Mr. Knapp and progressed, as time went by, into a treaty-authorized set of releases to the public for two purposes: one, to fulfill a moral and ethical obligation to evolve certain information, as required in the treaties, subordinate to an open government release that would eventuate a panicking populace, and later, two, we found, to release Lotus information to the right sources that would carry it as a myth into the future. That myth will eventually prompt the Lotus model being found at the right time. He was put through university at New York, but the later decision of the committee of the majority to censure Danny for his unauthorized release of information about Mars resulted in his paying a price for his disobedience. That censure is still in effect, as the Majestic 12 has not taken up old decisions during the tenure of the committee's reign. In 1991 Danny was assigned for a short time to an operations group that served in Israel, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Iraq. The nature of his service has been alluded to, but is not germane in this context. In 1994 Danny was selected by the Trod to be the front man in the biological research into his nerd disease. His selection came at a price, as there existed a big rivalry for the spot. That rivalry was quieted when we released to the other scientists that the particular Trod was aboard the same craft when Danny was taken in childhood. They were not informed of the intermixture, and such issues now remain moot, as all but the few that were not directly involved with Aquarius in those years are now dead. Danny served as the leader of the Aquarius J-Rod Biological Working Group with distinction. The group failed to resolve the disease but made many inroads to that end. We decided to release the information about the paradox to Danny, and it was not a quid pro quo. Sorry Dan. We hope you understand all this and you forgive me. It was decided for the best. Danny provided us with the information that he had received from the Trod, while still in a twilight state after the incident. We knew that Danny would find it impossible to keep such information to himself, due to his moral and ethical outlook on life, even after the penalty he paid several years before. In 2003 we met in treaty discussions. The treaty was set into abeyance for the period of 1 year, for many reasons. Almost comically, one of the reasons listed was so that the next conference would not be held in 2012, but as 3 separated species in 2013. The numerologist Trods were superstitious. A more sober concern, and one other reason for the abeyance, is the presence of a faction of Trods that do not share our vision for a happy future. They feel themselves superior to other groups, including us, and have allied themselves with the Illuminati. Their numbers make the issue formidable. We, in concert with the Trods and Orion Universal Brotherhood, are acting to suppress the threat. Contact with bona fide intergalactic alien intelligences not at all relating to this issue has occurred throughout the years. The counsel of such intelligences, always greatly advanced beyond our own and benevolent, is being sought by those assigned to do so. Their opinions, just as those representing many cultures and religions, will be taken into account, as we move forward to counter these threats to mankind. Danny has never been involved with projects with those intelligences. This is the first he has heard of them, from an authorized source. You may provide the gist of this information to those picking your brain. We hope for a bright future for mankind. Submitted, J1 for the Majestic 12, as approved. www.angelfire.com Web link addendum June 29 6 Spokesperson. New Eagles Forum 2 Moderator. I think it time to introduce myself. I am a brother of the Society of Jesus, in a special tertianship to the Magi, granted this Jubilee year, after personal request from Dr. Burish and the former MJ number 1. I formerly worked in the Il Gesù of Roma, year-round, and in the Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum, between September and July for the past 3 years. During that time I obediently served His Holiness Pope John Paul II and His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI as a liaison to the seal's conservation and archivist. The name Merrill was an expected quote to Dr. Burish, a name of the Foundation, where I previously served. I am not a member of former Majestic 12, the Committee of the Majority, or the misguided Illuminists. I am here to serve the needs of Dr. Burish during this delicate historic time, and look forward to assisting to bring a more positive spirit to this forum. I am here, more importantly, to serve the public. Greetings to you all. www.angelfire.com web link part 16 Burish.html. July 9 6 spokesperson. He told me that Burish intended to bring many societies together, to eliminate the communication failures and old rivalries, to corner the Illuminati and prevent them from acquiring prohibited machinery. The second mission is to firm up the synarchy against Illuminati interests, to prevent them from creating a one-world political order. That was Dan's genius. He controlled the meetings by joining agreements between people, by getting them to first put forth agenda items he knew he could get them to agree upon. www.angelfire.com web link part 17 Burish.html. July 25 6 spokesperson. All agents and allied. I have just received the following image from inside the Eagles team. The first proof DVD disc 1 has been produced by the Eagles team. www.angelfire.com web link part 18 Burish.html. A7, the Majestic 12 last orders. To be preserved for history. The order. To be preserved for history. This will make more sense this next part, an email question and conversation I had with Marcy in a message dated April 6, 2007 5:40 to 27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Marcia McDowell at yahoo.com writes, Team Captain, did you write what is below to make a point, or did you receive this in the mail? For the consistence of the Majestic 12 Washington, D.C. Passed on verbal order from Marcia McDowell, Ph.D. October 12, 2005. To the Most Honorable Dr. Danny B. Katsulas Burish. Majestic at number H6196E. From the Most Honorable MJ number 1. For the consistence of the Majestic 12 Washington, D.C. Within and for the consistories this majority assemble, by order of the Majestic 12 in formal high session, Thursday, October 12, 2005 AD. You are hereby instructed, ordered and enjoined to the best of your abilities and talents, to present the truth of the extraterrestrial reality, as you have personally known it. On dates yet to be established, to the population of the world you will conduct this disclosure with the application of your sacred honor, without regards for personal security, and in an unwavering manner rely upon the truth and the countenance of Almighty God as your personal defense. Know now, that you have the personal assurance of the Majestic 12, that none shall prevail against you, that your message shall be for the unity of humanity, during the time of the cycle cross. Such supremacy of word but subordinate to God is established by treaty with the future extraterrestrials' intelligences. You are hereby held to all ethical and moral boundary as in keeping with the standards set forth for senior agents of the Majestic 12. May God be with you, O Son of Majestic. We will stand unanimous and adjourn to your purpose. Your acceptance of this order is hereby requested forthwith. Sucker Punch Spam with award-winning protection. Try the free Yahoo Mail beta. Hello Marcia. The above email was a question I wrote to you, to make a good point. It would seem like, if God/first source was involved and listening from the above, you would think that everyone would take notice of that fact. A change like that on the planet that big can't possibly go unnoticed by God/first source, can it? So, if there is nowhere to go, what do? You get your life straight. Of course it's not worth the chance of being wrong, is it? That would seem kind of like the obvious answer. If the above is correct, our arms are just a little too short to box with God/first source. And if the aliens believe in God/first source, then you would be thinking maybe God/first source is really real. It's kind of hard to miss the words, Almighty God, above, don't you think? I got the above quote from the Jeff Rense interview with Dan, when he said, I quoted, for the consistence of the Majestic 12 Washington, D.C. Passed on verbal order from Marcia McDowell, Ph.D. October 12, 2005. I just found your website, so it's new news to me and a lot of other people I know. A lot of people I know don't have the internet, so I wrote the above down, as best I could to pass on to others I meet and talk to. Did I say it and write it correctly? These were the real orders. Watch this coming DVD number 2 to see them read. Live to me on October 12, 2005, as we have the surveillance video of the occasion and will release it, the letter, 24 hours before, to Marcia. Read. Tuesday, the 11th of October 2005, 23:08:22-700 PTT from J. Subject orders to Marcia McDowell at yahoo.com. Dearest Marcia, within 48 hours a decision should be taken by the 12 members, concerning granting instructions to move forward with disclosure, for you, Dan, and Debbie. No need to speak with either of them at this time. Once the order arrives, please gather them and read the orders. The existence of the orders may be made public by you, but not the exact contents. This will be the official nod Dan has been waiting for, from us. We will continue to maintain for a time, plausible deniability over these matters. Once these instructions are received, Dan will know how far he may go and what he may do. Hope all is well. J. So, it isn't she who is making it public, it's me. Then this letter, above the orders. Wednesday, the 12th of October 2005, 23:21:31-700 PTT from J. Subject orders to Marcia McDowell at yahoo.com. Please read the following order word for word to Dr. Burish and receive his reply. Please have this reading by you preserved for history by a recording device such as audio cassette or video recording machine. I prefer video. His exact words of reply shall be left for us, typed by you, in the draft section of this email address as soon as possible. Please understand that we hold that you and Deborah Burish shall be jointly held to care for Dr. Burish's personal safety during the times ahead. Please read this order to Dr. Burish, with Deborah Burish present. JXXX. The orders. To the Most Honorable Dr. Danny B. Katsulas Burish, Majestic, Idaho number H6196E. From the Most Honorable M.J. number 1, for the Consistory of the Majestic 12, Washington, D.C. Within and for the consistory of this majority assembled, by order of the Majestic 12, in formal high session, Thursday, October 12, 2005. Appointee, you are hereby instructed, ordered, and enjoined to the best of your abilities and talents to present the truth of the extraterrestrial reality, as you have personally known it, on dates yet to be established, to the population of the world. You will conduct this disclosure with the application of your sacred honor, without regard for personal security, and in an unwavering manner rely upon the truth and the countenance of Almighty God as your personal defense. Know, now that you have the personal assurance of the Majestic 12 that none shall prevail against you, that your message shall be for the unity of humanity during the time of the Cycle's Cross. Such supremacy of word, but subordinate to God, is established by treaty with the future extraterrestrial intelligences. You are hereby held to all ethical and moral boundaries, as in keeping with the standards set forth for senior agents of the Majestic 12. May God be with you, O Son of the Majestic. We will stand, unanimous and adjourned to your purpose. Your acceptance of this order is hereby requested forthwith. Dan. Re-Ideas, 2007 post by Canadiangle on yesterday at 11:08 p.m. Awesome. I know. We are not alone. Re-Ideas, 2007 post by Dan on yesterday at 11:15 p.m. T.C.W.A.B www.newinglisforum.proboards107.com web link. I believe it's necessary to respect one's opponents and his arguments in order to test one's own intellectual honesty. Team Point Captain. First of all, the Team Captain's Wednesday site isn't like most websites. It's got a bit of zest, a lot of class, and most of all, a pedigree. It's been online since 1996, and covers the breaking space news in a way that few others can. But then again, like I always say, decisions, those free will personal decisions. For more information get all the Team Captain's CDX files. epicbabby.com web link. It's not our role to play judge and jury for our witnesses, or to attempt to decide the truth, for you or for anyone else. The truth is for each person to reach for themselves. Every person has within them a kind of truth barometer elegantly expressed in the Team Captain CDX files on and at epicbabby.com web link. We honor the right, power and capability of each individual to determine for themselves what they will believe or know. the team captain. Remember this. There are moments in time which mark your life, moments when you will realize that nothing will ever be the same, and that time is divided into two parts, before this, and after this. I am the team captain, ambassador to the Federation of Planets and the negotiator for the planet Earth. I am the team captain. I am one. I am the other. Two sheep ministries. In the service of our King, Jesus Christ our Lord. Authors Henry and Rose Midlebrook 1996. All truth passes through three stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it is accepted as self-evident. Arthur Schopenhauer 1788–1860, often quoted by Charlene J. and W.E.B. Du Bois.